Hey everyone, this is Dave Dubeau from the Property Profits Real Estate Podcast, here with another special Real Estate Investment Club Spotlight interview. And today, zooming in with us is Chris Forsythe, who represents the Joplin Area REIA, based out of...
Good afternoon.
Joplin. What's that?
Yep, you got it. Thanks for having me on, Dave.
My pleasure. So you're zooming in from Missouri, is that correct?
We are, so Joplin, Missouri. So I'm actually on the Kansas side. I've got an office in Kansas and then I live in Missouri. So I'm right on that line. But yeah, so Missouri it is.
All right, Missouri. Perfect. So tell us a little bit about the club, when you guys got started, how many folks you got as part of your membership, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah. So it goes back about 3 years ago. It was a small group, about 4 to 6 investors just meeting at a restaurant, just chatting about real estate. Mm-hmm. That went on for about a couple of years, and then COVID hit, and so that group kind of dissolved, if you would say that. There was still a Facebook group, mm-hmm. but it kind of quit meeting and all that. So I came in at the end of the COVID thing. It was like, how can we get the group back to meeting, get re-engaged and all that, and so. Earlier this year, we've actually formed the official group, joined the National REIA. And so we've kicked things back off after the whole, shutdown and all that. So
yeah, well, that's wonderful.
Got things started again this year.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's hats off to you for starting up something even bigger and better, in spite of COVID and all that terrible stuff. So,
right.
Chris, How many folks have you got in the membership at this point? I know you're just getting things started, just getting things rolling.
Yeah, so we have a monthly meeting, and I can get into that in a little bit. But I think our group, our Facebook group, I just checked it. We're like at 287 on the group as far as the people that we kind of have engaged and we reach out to week on week. So we're definitely in the infancy of it, but we're definitely doing our best to kick things off and keep the meetings out there and reach out to other communities, not only the Joplin area, but we've got a lot of small communities in the area as well. So
let's talk a little bit about that. I'm not familiar with Joplin. What is the size of the town approximately?
We'd be under like around 50. And then but the area itself, like we've got we're about 80 miles or about 100 miles, I guess, or more south of Kansas City.
Right.
So we've got a pretty wide area we cover. We can actually dip down into Oklahoma. And then, of course, as you know, we're right on the Arkansas line. So we've got they call it the Forsythe area. So we've kind of got a little bit of Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and Arkansas all mixed in.
So the demographic that you're reaching out to, you got about 50,000 people right in Joplin itself. And then what would you say the surrounding area with those 4 states, kind of the area that you're reaching out to? What do you think the total population would be?
And I haven't ran the numbers on that community. So we've got Carthage, Missouri. I'm trying to think through a few things right now. Pittsburgh, Kansas is 30 miles away. That's closer to 20,000. So we've got a lot of small communities that have, 2,000 to 4,000 people in them.
Yeah. So you probably
a lot of those scattered out.
Double the size of the market by reaching out to those smaller communities.
Yes.
Very, very cool. Well, I'm a kind of a small town guy myself as well, Chris, so I can definitely relate to that. What was it that really inspired you and your partners to start this REIA? Because it's definitely at the beginning, it's a labor of love. There's a lot of effort, a lot of work involved. What really got you inspired to get this rolling, and especially in a serious manner like this?
Yeah. So the president, Tim Weems, he's been involved in it, since it was, the 4, 5, 6 guys meeting at the restaurant. Mm-hmm. So his passion is he's a real estate investor. He's a landlord. And so he's got a passion for real estate. For me, I'm in the insurance industry as well. And I'm also a real estate investor. So for me, it was kind of dating back to when I was 21 years old and bought my first property. I kind of took a liking for investing on that first purchase. And it kind of went from there. So for me, I like to connect with people. I love building those relationships, and then just the passion I have for the insurance and real estate industry itself.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Cool thing about real estate is you can connect with people. You can put as you know, you can put deals together that last for a lifetime, a relationship that lasts for a lifetime. So.
Yeah, very well said, especially in smaller, tight-knit communities. It's a great way to expand your network and really connect with people in a much more meaningful way.
Right.
Yeah. So, Chris, some of the folks watching this or listening to this interview might be thinking, what are the big benefits, or why should I get involved in a local real estate investment association or a club? What would you say to those folks? What have been the big benefits for you?
Yeah. So kind of a couple things there is the reason you should is really to plug in. So in our typical meeting, we'll have everyone there from maybe a loan officer at a bank, private money lender. You've got an insurance agent that can insure those high risk properties. A lot of times there's some pretty high risk associated with a purchase. So you've kind of got someone from every facet of the industry in the room. Not only that, they're open. It's really cool to see how open everyone is just to share free information. And sometimes it's not only what their successes have been, sometimes it's where they've really failed. And we had one presenter come in and actually talk about his failures. And so not only are there a lot of successes, but there can be a lot of failures. And so being able to, sometimes I learn from watching other people's failures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's kind of the intent of the group.
Helps you avoid making those mistakes yourself.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Now, very good. Now, I admire you guys taking on the task of starting your own REIA. What have been some of the big benefits for you for getting it started? So somebody might be in a similar situation. They're in a small area, small community. They don't have a local real estate investment club or a meetup or anything like that. What would you recommend to those folks about the benefits of actually taking that action and starting a group up themselves?
Starting a group?
Yeah.
So, and once again, you don't necessarily have to be an investor to start a group. You can have a passion for connecting with people. Mm-hmm. So, for me, it's building. I've been building some relationships, not only on the insurance side, but I've actually put together a partnership or two on some property purchases recently out of the group. And so you don't necessarily have to be a real estate investor. You could be a handyman, and say, hey, my community of 6,000 people, we don't have a place for people to connect. I want to start that place for people to connect. And real estate is kind of common ground for people, whether you're a handyman, an insurance agent, a flooring guy, a housekeeper, we'll have house cleaners come in. So it's really a great way to connect no matter what you bring to the table.
Yeah, it's a great way to connect and start building up your business. You don't even have to be an active real estate investor as long as you're related in some aspect to real estate investing game. It makes sense. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm aware of a lot of realtors that have started clubs. That's an obvious one, but yeah, you're right. Why not? If you got a handyman service or you got a cleaning service, if you're dealing with real estate in your day-to-day, why not start a club and surround yourself by like-minded individuals? Now, Chris, this is fun chatting with you at this infancy stage of your REIA, because you're just getting things up and going. And I spoke to somebody a little while ago that their club, I believe, has been going for 40 years. It started like 1980, and they're still going strong. But so it's fun to talk with somebody that's just getting it up and rolling. What would you say are the keys to success of really getting the most out of your membership in a club? Like, if not you as one of the active, people in the club, one of the organizers, but the members, what can they do? Not just kind of sit back passively and learn stuff. How can they really squeeze all the juice out of that experience?
I think the first thing I would tell people is bring value first. So it's so easy to walk in the room, as a new guest, maybe be a little intimidated, like, oh, wow, I'm getting into a room full of investors. That's not really the case. There's something to give no matter what you bring into the room. So back to the handyman, really coming into the room open-minded, being willing to give advice, maybe your expertise in your field, and being prepared to give first. Because when you open up and start sharing, it's going to come back.
So how would you open up and start sharing? Like, if you're not, a lot of people are kind of introverted, they're not just naturally geared towards that. What would you recommend for people in order to be able to, give first?
That's a good question. So we open it up at the beginning of the meeting. We always open it up to do around the room. Sometimes that can be a little awkward, like, okay, it's almost my time. I haven't bought a deal yet. But being able to open up and being honest about that and saying, hey, I'm Jim, the handyman. I'm here today, just in the room to listen, and maybe share a little bit of your experience in your job field and what you offer. And at the same time, like I said, being willing to offer free advice. So if I'm the handyman, do a free home assessment for somebody, be willing to be open to give those services away.
Yeah, that'll generate a lot of goodwill. That'll generate business for sure. And that makes a lot of sense. What about volunteering to help out in the club, in the meetings and speaking opportunities or introduction type things? What are your thoughts on that, Chris?
Yeah, so recently we did a can drive for a local charity organization. Nice. And so, a lot of folks maybe haven't been able to get up and present. They don't have something they want to give a full presentation on, but they were able to come and plug in with that organization and give back. So volunteering, I could always use help marketing. I know Tim could as well. Help running the meetings, help videoing. So we do video, we do some live streams. Opportunity there. There's opportunity to check people in at the door.
Yeah. Yeah. And the nice thing is, the more active you are in the club, even if you're an introvert, right? It doesn't matter. You can help check people in at the door. They see you, you start those conversations, you start those relationships, it's actually quite often the other person starting the conversation because you're there helping, but people see that you're actively involved. They start to associate you with being a player in the local area as far as real estate investing goes. So again, that builds up a little bit more confidence over time. And, you don't have to be a speaker, but you could introduce a speaker. You could do these kind of things just to kind of dip your toe in the waters and get more comfortable doing that kind of thing. I don't know about you, Chris, but I think the more actively involved you are in your local REIA, the more you're going to get out of it.
Yeah. And, you're going to plug in. You're going to be a little more happier with what's going on. You've got a little more control of what's going on.
You got to say, right?
Yeah. Who the speaker? We're always looking for a guest speaker. Being able to network with folks and bring in some guest speakers to us is highly beneficial too.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So you guys got started at the end of the pandemic. Are you doing a combination of in-person and virtual events, or what do your events look like? What do your meetings look like, Chris?
So when we kicked it back off, we did a lot of virtual, and we did virtual along with meeting in person just to make sure we could connect with everyone.
Like a hybrid type of event. Yeah.
Right now we've done more in person. We are looking at some better options to do more live streaming. We do some live streaming, but we really want people to come in and connect with us at this point into the meeting setting and really get to know them and shake hands. And so we've been really putting a focus on in-person meetings. We are going to probably expand into more live streaming. We'd like to do more than just once a month. We do a first Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. is our meeting. We really want to do more throughout the month. And so I'm actually networking with some smaller communities right now, meeting with them to meet investors where they are.
Okay. Yeah.
Not just in Joplin, but, Lamar, Nevada, Missouri, some places like that where I can meet people where they are.
Yeah. Smart idea. Get the word out, spread the word about the whole thing. Fantastic. So Chris, time flies when we're having fun. If people want to find out more about your REIA, where should they go? What should they do? So
Joplin Area REIA.com. We're going to probably link that up to this podcast, but that's the best place to get a hold of us. My office number is 620-231-6460. I love it when people call the office too, kind of old school, pick up the phone. They'll ask me, like, tell me about the REIA. I'd love to, and I always make time for those folks because it's always fun connecting and learning their story.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, Chris, thank you so much. And congratulations for getting this started in a challenging time, right? I mean,
Yes.
Most people are not starting local REIAs right after a pandemic. You are, so tip my hat to you. And the fact that it sounds like you're a going and growing concern. So congratulations.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning into this special spotlight episode. Now, if you're a real estate investor and you're looking to find private money partners and raise capital for your deals, then check out moneypartnerformula.com. You can get a free copy of my book. You can find out how to raise 6 figures or more in 6 weeks or less. Again, that's moneypartnerformula.com.